Good morning, this is Jorge with Greystone Investment Group, where you invest and we do the rest. Today we're going to talk about why most agents fail in real estate. I think a lot of agents are used to, one of the main reasons is that a lot of agents are used to just, in a way, working with just low-hanging fruit. And what I mean by that is most agents are just waiting for that listing or waiting for that perfect scenario of a buyer in order to make money. You see what's wrong with that? When you're relying on a perfect buyer or a perfect listing. What I mean by that is that most agents are looking for that perfect property in a way, right? Because most agents won't list a property unless it's 100% rehab. They're looking for that property that is priced correctly because they don't want it to sit on the market for too long, and they want this perfect client that's going to pay them 6% for their efforts. That's on the listing side. On the buyer side, it's the same thing. You want a perfect buyer, perfect credit, with income, verifiable income, perfect income. So you see where I'm going with this? Most agents are waiting for that perfect scenario in order to make money. That's one of the biggest mistakes why most agents fail in real estate. They're just waiting for that perfect moment, that perfect scenario, perfect client in order to make money. So how do you start making more money? Is being able to provide solutions for those other deals or clients that are not perfect. For example, you have a client that wants to sell a property, but the property is in bad shape. What, as an agent, can you do? Well, there's different ways that you can do. You could team up with a GC company, team up with different vendors, and figure out a payment plan if you have to fix the property, take it to the next level. So you could go to a listing client and say, all right, I know that your property is not in the best shape, but these are some of the connections that I could bring to you so that you could fix your property and you don't have to pay everything at once. You could pay some of it now, then pay the rest at closing. So if you have the right connections, you're able to provide that extra service and be able to service people that don't have the perfect property. That's one of the first things I would do. When it comes to pricing, listen, and I've seen this happen many times. When a client comes to you and they say they're not being realistic about how much they want to sell the property for, most agents will walk away and say, well, that person's not being realistic. But in reality, all you need to do is educate them. And you know how you would educate them about what the right price is? Is by letting the market underwrite it for you or underwrite it for them. What I mean by this is, let's say a client wants to sell the home, and for the purpose of keeping it simple, let's say that you advise the client to sell it for 100 because you did a CMA. You pull out some comps and you determine that the best price that you can sell the property for is 100. But the client keeps insisting that they want to sell it for 150. Well, approach the client and say, you know what I'm going to do for you? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. I'm going to list it at the 150 as you want. Let the market underwrite it for us, Mr. Client. But you agree with me if after a couple of weeks, we put it out there in the market, we send it to my database, we do this crazy social media marketing, and if it doesn't sell, that you agree with me that we're going to scale it down little by little, whether that is $5,000 per week, or whatever the case might be. Why? Because this is how you're gonna educate your client. You're gonna allow the market to do the underwriting for you. And then what happens 2, 3, 4 weeks later is that the client understands at that moment, sees that they were wrong. Okay, and in some cases you might be wrong. You might be thinking 150 is too much, but all of a sudden your seller proves you wrong and somebody pays close to the 150, 140. But this is a good way. This is what I'm saying, that agents are always looking for that perfect transaction and often fail in this real estate business. Once again, because they just want to have the perfect client, perfect buyer, perfect transaction, perfect property, perfect price. But if you come around as an advisor and you say, okay, this is how much you want to sell it for, let's try that. And what have I mentioned so far? If the property condition is not great, find them solutions. Find them some contacts that they'll be able to rely on. And if it's a money issue, figure out if there's a way that we could fix that AC, and then some sort of AC payment plan, or fix that roof and have some sort of payment plan. But just don't let it go, you know. So the first one is property conditions. You're gonna be more proactive. You're gonna find ways of allowing your potential seller to fix the property. The second one is having issues with a reality check, right? Where the client, the sales price, having issues with sales price. You're gonna say to the client, okay, let's go ahead and let the market underwrite it, and then we'll take it from there. We'll, cut it down if we need to. So those are two important ones. Number 3, when it comes to your buyers, you're often looking for that perfect buyer, perfect credit, perfect income, perfect everything. So, but there's a ton of options for your buyers. Anywhere from private lending, seller financing, lease options, sandwich leases, all of these things that don't necessarily, often you don't need credit. You don't need necessarily a job with private lending, as long as you have some sort of cash flow. So what I'm trying to get to here is that you don't really need the perfect property and the perfect client. Always relied on these 2 perfect transactions to make the perfect commitment or commission. Start working with the not perfect properties, not perfect scenarios. It's gonna make you shape up because you're not working with the low-hanging fruit. So it's gonna push you to be more innovative with tougher deals. I'll bet you anything that you'll find a pool that nobody's touching of sellers and buyers because they're not the perfect buyer or seller. But before you do this, you have to educate yourself. You got to be able to know what the options are for sellers, what the options are for buyers, and be able to be more proactive. That's why I've always said to agents, in order for you to make it in real estate, you have to have a PhD, you have to be a doctor in real estate. And how you become a doctor in real estate is knowing every side of real estate: wholesaling, retailing, lending, private lending, creative purchases like lease option, subject to, all of these things. Very important. This is why I believe most agents fail, because agents will work only on those perfect scenarios. So if you have an agent that has sold 1 property a year, 12 properties, 1 property a month, 12 properties a year, I challenge you to start taking some of the difficult deals. It's gonna take your knowledge to the next level. It's gonna make you more of a problem solver person. It's gonna allow you to grow your skills. And it's gonna also allow you to bring more potential leads to you. So that's my challenge to you. Start taking the difficult deals as much as you're taking the good deals. Try to figure out, educate yourself more. But in this business, what differentiates from systems and automations, Zillow, Trulia, all of these things is our mind, our creative minds. It's the main difference. It's what the computers and technology can never take away. Creative thinking. If you want to stay ahead of the game, want to stay ahead of technology, want to be able to double or triple your sales, educate yourself, be creative, find ways, take the toughest deal you have, the most mission impossible deal you have, make it happen. It's going to give you a lot of rewards. You're going to feel really good about it. And through the process, you will be better. This is Jorge at Greystone Investment Group, where you invest and we do the rest, where we provide all of these tools for agents. Take your business to the next level. Don't be another agent that fails in spite of the stats. Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.